Hello, everyone. This is Miss Danica, your guidance associate. Now we will have our first session in the homeroom guidance starting from Module 1. For our topic, we have conquering personal barriers, addressing barriers related to the self. Now, in this topic, you will learn a lot on how to overcome the different hindrances that may be becoming a barrier in relating to yourself. And in this way, you can now manage and you can now cope. You can now overcome the different challenges that may come in your way, especially when choosing your career. Now, let's start. For the objectives, at the end of this module, you are expected to identify barriers related to the self. You are also expected to apply strategies on how to overcome the different barriers related to the self. And lastly, to appreciate the value of overcoming the different career barriers related to the self. Now, let's start with the introduction. The youth tend to think of career positively and have high expectations at their age. They are not able to foresee what may happen when their career goals are not met. So, as you can see in our environment nowadays, there are so many people out there. There are so many youth who are thinking of having high expectations at a certain age. And that's normal because we want to excel, we want to have good grades, we want to prove something for our parents. But then, always remember to have a balanced life. Balance your life in studying as well as balance your time in your leisure. Now, how can you do that? Always know your priorities. What are your priorities? What are the things that you should do at a certain moment? And then during weekend, if you need to rest, if your body wants to rest, then take a rest. Take a break. That is how you can balance between life and the academic aspect. Now let's start with the second part. So as you can see, according to Gottfredson, career development becomes more challenging when adolescents are called to make career decisions or career relevant decisions, such as which program to pursue or what training to seek. Now, who is Gottfredson? Linda Gottfredson is an American psychologist, and she contributed in the idea of career development theory. And according to her, there are so many young adults who are still confused of what to take as their career path or to choose in their career path. But that's okay and it is normal. All of us, even your teachers, have experienced being confused on what to do and on what aspect they really need to improve in order to have the skills, the necessary skills necessary for the job that they do want in the future. Confusions are part of learning as well. But then it is up to us on how to improve and how to learn to manage everything. Now let's start with the content. There are four domains necessary for career decision making, especially when you would like to take the course in college and even before proceeding to college, preparing in your senior high school strand or track, you really have to decide which path to take. And there are four domains necessary for that. First of all, self knowledge. Of course, you cannot go over between the different aspects, the different programs, the different courses if you do not know yourself. Always come back to your inner core. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Identify your strengths and identify your weaknesses. Once you know your weaknesses and your strengths, always try to improve more and be better. When you know your weaknesses, try to learn new skills, acquire new skills. In your leisure time, you can actually spend it by increasing your skills. Try to learn from the others as well in order to improve. Okay, do not limit yourself by not putting effort on those weaknesses. You really have to try because you will never know if you will never try. Now, how about in the strengths? When you know your strengths, it is your advantage. Take it to your advantage. Use it as your advantage. Like, for example, if you are good with socialization skills, you can have the alignment of it when you choose it as your career in the future. You can be a teacher, you can be a newscaster, okay? You can go over and discuss different aspects, being a motivational speaker. And that's actually good because you know your strengths. Always try to align your long term goal and your career in your personality. Because if you are not aligning your personality with your chosen career, it will be difficult for you in the future because you are the one being in that certain job. Okay. Now, another one, occupational knowledge. Occupational knowledge, specifically from the root word occupation, you are improving more. You have to acquire knowledge using your occupations, the different occupations. You really must need to learn about the different jobs. Research. Try to research. Try to research the different track and strand in senior high school before choosing, because if you do not know what track or what program to take, it can give you higher negative impact. You should always prepare. That's why, as early as possible, research on the different tracks and strands in senior high school. Example, humanities and social sciences strand. What are the different courses that may be possibly aligned in this kind of track? How about in STEM? What are the different courses aligned in this kind of strand? You have to research. That's one of the aspect that you need to do in the occupational knowledge. Now, how about in decision making skills? Now, in decision making skills, you really have to be logical, being rational. You don't need to be subjective. Always go back to what is really important. When having the decision or when choosing a career, always go back to the positive aspect if you will choose that decision, and then try to look what will be the consequence if I will choose that kind of action. So always look at the positive and the disadvantage part or the drawback when making decision. In that way, it will help you to process what decision to make. The lesser the consequence, the better the opportunity for you because it will help you to grow. So choose wisely. You know what? Every decisions that you are going to make, especially when you are getting older, there are many consequences. Whether you choose the lesser consequences or the higher ones, it's up to you. But there are always consequences in every decisions. That's why you have to prioritize everything that is necessary for you, everything that is aligned with your goal and your long term goals, to be exact. Another one, executive processing. What is executive processing? So, when you are having the decision, especially when it comes to your career, you must have the executive processing. You must have metacognition, meaning you are thinking rationally, as what I have mentioned. You are logical. You are in control of your emotions. Do not just choose the track, the strand, or the course just because it is the trend, just because your parents tell you to do so. Always choose for yourself. Okay? So always try to think what's best for you, what makes you happy, your passion, and if it's really aligned with what you want to do in the future. Do you really want that in the future to happen? Because at the end of the day, you will be the one who is responsible and accountable of your own decisions. Now, again, we have four domains necessary. First, self knowledge. You have to know yourself. Occupational knowledge. You have to research everything, every courses, every strand before making a decision. Now, when you go to the third part, decision making, always try to look on the lesser consequences. And number four, executive processing. Always decide for yourself. Do not try to decide just because you heard it from other people. Always try to decide based on what you think is applicable to you. Okay, now let's proceed with the other parts of our topic. Self-related career barriers that can negatively influence one's career journey. Now, we discussed a while ago the different domains necessary when making decisions, especially to your career. Now, what are the barriers? What are the hindrances? Why we cannot choose that certain career, that certain strand, or that certain course that we want to take? Let's have the first one. So, for the first one, we have gender. So as you can see, some careers that are mistakenly labeled and stereotyped for different genders. Do you believe in that? Of course, it is actually existing even in our generation nowadays. There are so many people who don't want to pursue something, especially the course that they want, just because it was labeled or stereotyped according to gender. Like, for example, you cannot proceed being an engineer because most engineers are males. And you cannot proceed being a seafarer because most seafarer are males. But in reality, as long as you can do the job, as long as you are capable of doing the responsibilities, gender will never be an issue. Take that into consideration, okay? In the end, you will be the one to decide for yourself, not the other people around you. So, gender will never be an issue. You should forget the stereotype or the labeled idea in our society, in our norm. Not because you are female, you can just only be sitting there and doing some soft documents, working in the documents alone. You can actually carry some, you can pull everything, every hardships that males can encounter. So it's up to you. It's up to you to decide. Now, another one. What is another reason or hindrance why some do not want to take that certain path? Lack of confidence. Many young people believe that they are not good enough. And that's actually true as well. Because you have low self esteem, you are shy in front of the camera, for example, you are shy in front of the public, especially when it comes to public speaking. You limit yourself. You limit yourself that you will not take that path because of your personality. But then, you can always improve if you would like to try. There's nothing wrong in trying. Try to explore, try to develop your skills, and then until you develop, and then if you realize that it is still not for you, then that's how you adjust the situation. But for now, as long as you have the opportunity to learn, to grow, to discover new things, always try. Never be afraid of trying because you will never know again if you will never try. Now, how about in this part? In the slide, nationality. Another aspect why some students do not want to pursue a certain career or a certain course because of nationality. Some people are afraid of being discriminated due to their citizenship when working abroad. That is why there are so many people out there that are settling here in the Philippines. They do not want to take risk because of the nationality aspect. You don't want to take risk because maybe they may encounter racism. They may encounter bosses who will degrade them as Filipinos. But then, as what I have mentioned, you have to try because trying to go to other nationalities will help you as well to discover about them, to discover about their culture. Another one, inadequate preparation. Now, one of the reason why you cannot go to a certain career because of your inadequacy. uncertainty due to lack of research on what particular program to pursue, and not being able to assess oneself. Like, for example, if you are a grade 10 student already and then preparing to become a senior high school student, but you have inadequate preparation, you don't know what strand to take because you have lack of knowledge. You didn't even research about it. Now, it is really crucial for you to research what path you would like to take. Because if there is an inadequate preparation, it will be harder for you in college, especially in preparing for a course. As soon as possible, try to look on your short term and then your long term goals. What are your plans in the future? What would you like to do? What is your dream? Okay, in that way, you can research now, you can already study, and you can pursue the program that is really aligned with your personality, aligned with what you want to do, your passion, what makes you happy. Another one, disapproval by significant others. The intervention of parents in the possible choice of program by their children. That's actually true. Parents intervene when it comes to decision making of their um, children. That's why there are so many students out there who cannot decide for themselves. Even if they don't love that kind of course, they just choose it out of love for their parents and out of respect for their parents. But then always remember to go back in your inner core. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And then try to apply it when choosing for a career or a course. Because at the end of the day, you will suffer from indecision. Another one, decision making difficulties. When there are lots of career options but limited information presented. It actually occurs during career fair. There are different schools who explain various programs or courses but limited details about the courses that they offer. That's why it really it is really vague for other students what career to choose because they didn't even know what is the main responsibility or duty when they choose that certain career. And we also have discourage to choose non-traditional careers. Parents push their kids to take courses which would have a high return of investment. Like, for example, your parents would like you to choose being a doctor, being a lawyer because of a high return of investment. So you are discouraged to choose the non-traditional careers. So you must choose what is really in, what is really trend in our society nowadays. But then, at the end of the day, again, it is your own choice. Always try to choose for yourself, not because of your parents, not because of your friends. Because they are not working for you in the future. You will be the one to work in that industry. Another one, disability or health concerns. Any form of handicap can be perceived as a factor that may limit the choice of career. And that is actually true. It is sad to hear, but that's reality. That when you are handicapped, when you have some health concerns, you have limited choice of career. Now, we already learned about the different hindrances or barriers in choosing a career. Now, how can we cope with the career barriers related to the self? First of all, you have to increase your self awareness. You have to be aware of your own self. Another one, on the second, you have to change your behavior and how you interpret the reasons why a barrier occurred. Instead of sulking, look for other ways to achieve one's goal. At the end of the day, there is always a drawback in every decision. As what I have mentioned, there are so many consequences, no matter how good you decide or prepare for that career. But then, do not cry for too long. You can always have an alternative solution. Always believe in yourself, always have faith in God, and always know how to stand. As long as you are resilient, you can always stand and go back again to how you started. Another one, have a broad option for potential experiences. So do not limit yourself, as what I have mentioned. Always try to look for different opportunities. So if that career is not for you, do not be afraid to take risk. Do not be afraid to stand up when you fall or when you fail, because it helps you to learn, it helps you to grow, and it helps you to acquire new experiences. Another one, develop resilience. So as what I have mentioned, whenever you face failure, do not be afraid to stand again. Never give up. At certain point in our lives, we may experience being over fatigued, burned out, and that's okay. Just take a rest, but never give up on yourself. Always believe that there will always be a solution. Another one, seek guidance. See your guidance or career counselor, but it is not limited to only the guidance counselor. You can go to your friends, your family, your teacher, someone that you trust, and then ask help from them. Listen to what they have to say and if they can contribute positively in your well being. And lastly, surround yourself with people who will support you no matter what. Of course, you have to go and choose your circle of friends who can really support you and not those circle of friends that will bring you down. Always try to look for those friends that will be with you even in your down times. Okay, so this is all for our homeroom guidance, and I hope you learned something today. And for your activity, kindly write your name and section at the upper right corner of the worksheet. Now, I will leave you a quote from Francis of Assisi, Saint Francis of Assisi to be exact. Start by doing what is necessary, then what is possible, and suddenly you are doing the impossible. So basically, it is not over until you tell yourself to do so. Never give up, because who knows, that impossible become possible as long as you believe in yourself. Have determination, have courage, and have faith in God as well. Have a great day, everyone.